Hey, hello everybody. Welcome. I'm Chris, Wave Cafe. Hello, friends. Let's take a look. 4th of March. After yesterday's sort of a reversal where we, had some pretty heavy selling and then we pushed higher and managed to, you know, get back, a lot of those losses. Today was followed through with a little bit of selling, but then we had pretty much consistent buying throughout the day. There was not really at any moment, as I was watching the market, a whole lot of selling. The buyers were pretty much present, and we managed to close above the prior 3 days highs and still close below a somewhat declining 50-day moving average. And you're looking here at the Nasdaq 100. It's the same story in the S&P where and these are the futures. They just opened about almost an hour ago, less than an hour ago. But I don't know. Are we out of the woods, or we're still going to be seeing some volatility? The VIX came down a little bit, and so I don't know how much I should really trust this. Today I was a bit more cautious into trading from the short side. I had small attempts, tried to scalp a little bit, but I didn't have the conviction that I had the prior couple of days. So I'm now just kind of waiting to see how the market behaves overnight, what it does tomorrow morning before the open, and what happens if they're trying to take it into that 50-day moving average. What's going to happen if that happens? And how we're going to react, if we're going to stall in here, if we're going to get sellers coming in, if the buyers have enough force, if there is volume. I don't know how that's gonna work. Let me see if I can see the volume today. So I mean, it was fine, but nothing really that impressive. If I take a look at the Nasdaq, um, not really. If we take a look in here, not much. If we take a look at the spies, no, the volume actually was lower. The volume was actually lower than on the decline. So again, this is, in my view, still a little bit in the negative bucket. So I will continue to be prepared for further sell-off, but I'm going to listen to the market, what it's telling me in here, and how it behaves. And if I need to accelerate, I will jump on it right away. So remember yesterday we looked at the S&P at that measurement in what it looked to be an ABC down. If I go to the spies, you'll see it's up here, and we measured basically this C wave with this A wave, and we caution a little bit. Hey, this could be something that's going to get going if it's an ABC, but until you actually get back above the B wave high, they don't really have a whole lot. So it started, with a little bit of aggressiveness, but you're still on a lower high environment, right? We are having lower highs, the definition of a, even though temporary or a bit, sorry about that, a little bit slower. How am I going to get back? Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But the idea was that you have lower highs and lower lows, and until this gets taken out in here, you're still in that pattern. And that's kind of how I look at the price action. All right, I'm going to keep it short. I'm not going to go a whole lot today over, everything that I've kind of looked at today. I mean, it's pretty much, more of the same. I'm focused on day-to-day price action and trying not to get run over, trying to scalp a little bit as much as I can. But I wanted to talk about Bitcoin because Bitcoin. Remember, I had yesterday. I had an alert up into these levels and got triggered. It actually got triggered overnight when I woke up this morning. I saw the move already kind of through those levels. I'm like, here we go. Bitcoin actually, started to move, and that's the level that I was watching to see if there's going to be, some serious, I don't know, money behind it or buyers. And we went up as high as 74. I think we talked about that. So it looks good. In terms of the wave count, let me first bounce you back to this in here because we're basically coming now into resistance. And this is the way it's supposed to be when basically you've been selling off for a while. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of supply that you're going to have to fight through. So that's why you don't really jump into the things right away. Now, yesterday, I draw attention on this candle in here that came in high volume, on this candle in here that came on this volume, and even today, I mean, look at this move, right? So we got some pretty serious interest into Bitcoin right now. But if you go in, we look at the weekly time frame, what do we see here? Well, we see the 75K level, which are the lows from back in April last year, so almost a year ago, and we're about to meet those levels very close. We also have a bunch of levels in here, so markets remember this, right? This is from 2024, again, the year prior, so it almost like, we're going back 1 year and then 2 years at the same time in the spring, and then you have a declining 10-week moving average. So we'll see how this weekly's volume is going to show up in here. Very curious how we're going to close. Tomorrow is Thursday. Again, no rush. They're not going to get through these levels like there's no tomorrow. And even if they do, they're going to be meeting quite a bit of resistance above as long as this is declining. So what I'm going to be looking for, if this continues to act well, I'm going to be looking to see how the market acts on pullbacks, and the buying comes in, then my confidence grows, and we can act. So here is basically the move, right, that we've gotten, and I can go to 1 hour. I think on the 1 hour I have the kind of the wave counts a little bit. And we looked at this level first, a little bit of a bounce, then we dropped into the 70, a little bit more than 78.6, almost like a 90% decline. Then we went up into the 61.8. We looked at this, didn't get traction, but we pull back again, 78.6 in here. So you can do 1 2 1 2 1 2, 3 4 and 5. So then you got to have a lot more series in here of 3 4s and 5. So if we're staying at this resistance and we're starting to pulling back and we're building corrective moves that are not getting too aggressive. So I don't want the market to get back below 70K. If it gets back below 70K, this kind of bullish momentum, it's going to be a little bit in trouble. You don't really have a clean impulsive sequence, and things could get trickier because you can have, let me go to a 2 hour, right? You can have some kind of a weird, three-wave move in here. You can have something like this and something like that, and some kind of a complex move in here. And if you start to break, this can continue lower. So I'm not saying this is going to happen, but the market needs to continue to behave bullishly to eliminate this issue that we're having still with kind of all that overhead resistance. So right now we can look at this as a 1-2 and the beginning maybe of a larger third wave, and that has to behave. Plenty of time in here to kind of do that, like I showed you on those weekly time frames. If this is an ABC, boy, you got to get back above 98. So I can see something like this happening where you're basically, even if you pull back a little bit and you're starting to do that you're getting there, obviously you're going to have resistance, then you're going to come back in here and then start to build the move. But I want to be above this average. Eventually we will be above that one. So again, it needs to build the sequence. This is not a one-time deal. Look from these lows in here, what it take to do it, right? So you turned, it moved up, it came back, it moved up, it came back, it created a nice ABC or a corrective move. It got back above the averages. So plenty of work to be done. But we're reading the price section, and again, unless you're a very short-term trader that wants to take a move, like I said, from a 78.6 or a 61.8, and there's a bit of momentum. And remember what I talked about yesterday. If you watched that video, I said Bitcoin is acting well in the sense that the market was selling off, but Bitcoin was not responding, which means that it had some kind of an underlying strength. So these These are price action clues that you can read and say, hey, why isn't this happening? The pattern looks interesting in here. Can I play for a short-term squeeze, higher because of the lack of participation lower? But I got to be very disciplined, have my target into that 75 and get out of the way until the larger pattern establishes itself. So that's kind of how I think about price action if I'm trying to take advantage of some kind of a reversal of the lows, right? I'm not saying, man, there's a low in Bitcoin and I'm staying long, because you need a lot more proof for that. Anyway, that's my 2 cents for tonight. Hopefully that helps. We'll see what tomorrow brings. It is Thursday. And we'll take it from there. I probably have another video tomorrow. So thanks for watching as always. Bye.